What if your broccoli and greens tasted a lot more like candy and a lot less like bitter greens? Would you eat more of them? And could that help you better manage your heart disease or your kidney disease or your high blood pressure? Well, a company is trying to find out. Stay tuned and I'll tell you about that and other things that are on my mind this week to help keep you healthy. We'll talk about exercise to improve brain health, and then I'll tell you why I'm making a pot roast this week. And no, pigs aren't flying, nor has hell frozen over. The cooking doc is making red meat. I'm Dr. Blake Schusterman. I'm a board-certified kidney doctor, and I'm also the cooking doc, and everything we talk about here today is just for informational purposes. This is not medical advice. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share so you never miss a new recipe or a new health tip. First, let's talk about bitter vegetables. I often talk about changing your taste buds so you can enjoy and appreciate healthier foods, right? With the goal that the better that food tastes and the more you're used to those flavors, the easier it will be to eat those foods every single day. Enjoy them and improve your health if those foods taste good. Well, this week I read an article talking about how scientists have found a way to genetically transform the flavors of your least favorite vegetables so they taste less bitter. So imagine sweeter blackberries, sweeter pineapple, and less bitter mustard greens. The results from taste testers that I read are really positive, but many questions remain. If you remove the bitter taste, you also remove some of the phytochemicals. And those are the things, those exact ingredients that bring the anti-inflammatory health benefits to that food. So will they still create the same health benefit if we change the flavor? The key appears to be finding the perfect balance between flavor and health benefits so that everyone can't get enough of the flavors and the health benefits follow along with you all eating more. I have other questions though too. Will people actually eat more vegetables if they taste less bitter? Well, look no further than the Brussels sprout. Anyone who tried to eat Brussels sprouts in the 70s and 80s knows that they used to be bitter and disgusting. I thought it was just because we didn't know how to cook them, but it turns out scientists were able to weed out the bitter varieties of the sprouts and start producing a variety that tasted less bitter every year but was still easy to grow. And now today, you can't go to a trendy restaurant without seeing some form of Brussels on the menu. Those of us who were raised in the 80s on 80s Brussels sprouts are still in shock. That's not all of it though. I got more questions. There's also a part of me that thinks that we all need to suffer a little bit as we are eating our healthy vegetables and that we should buck up and learn to appreciate the natural bitterness in these foods, change our taste buds, just to appreciate the natural flavors in the foods. Of course, that kind of selfish thinking is a little bit ridiculous though. If we can create food that is just as healthy, affordable, and with a flavor profile that appeals to everyone, we should make it available as soon as possible. It has the possibility to reduce the number of people with obesity, diabetes, chronic kidney disease, and make us overall much healthier, and of course, that's what I'm all about. The next thing on my mind this week, here's another reason we all need to be moving more. Exercise is a miracle drug for so many things, but how much do you really need to get the benefits, and can we measure the daily impacts of things like being active with your kids or playing with the dogs? How much does that help you as the day goes on? Well, this study here tried to actually figure that out. They asked people to check in 6 times per day, every 3.5 hours or so for 7 days, and report whether they had been physically active within the last hour. And then when they checked in, they were asked to play a brain game to measure their cognitive functioning throughout each day. And guess what? It made a difference. Listen to this quote by the authors of the study. When participants reported being physically active sometime in the previous 3.5 hours, they showed improvements in mental speed equivalent to being 4 years younger. Amazing. And the benefits? The benefits were observed whether or not the activities they reported were higher intensity, for example running or jogging, or lower intensity, for example walking or chores. These findings suggest that everyday physical activity may promote cognitive health in midlife and that the benefits may be enjoyed immediately. Okay, so that means you can start exercising and you'll be able to think more clearly in the next few hours right after that. And that's something that I've noticed personally. Have you ever noticed that? So next time you're stuck or feeling like your brain is a bit sluggish, try moving and your thinking, it may immediately improve. Excuse me while I go for a run. Okay, lastly, when the weather gets cold, I like to get out my Le Creuset Dutch oven and cook something. And about once a year, I get a hankering to make some red meat. I talk a lot on this channel about the importance of using plant-based proteins and substituting chicken and fish for red meat because of the overall health benefits, especially if you have kidney disease. But let's be honest, in my personal opinion, there is nothing as satisfying as cooking a large piece of red meat. Whether you're smoking or braising, the flavors and smells that develop as that meat transforms from a lump of tough muscle and fat to a tender, flavorful comfort food, that is unmatched. Here is the book that taught me all about how to braise. All About Braising by Molly Stevens. And I whip this out when I want to go deep and rich with red meat. Today, I'm making a Yankee pot roast. So pay attention, because you'll probably never see me make red meat again.
This is a beautiful piece of meat, this 3.5 pound chuck roast with the bone in. Check out that tie that I did. I am an expert. We're going to put that in our Le Creuset pot. I love my Le Creuset pot. We're going to brown all sides and leave those delicious brown bits in the pan. And then we're going to deglaze with, get this, hard cider. Crazy, right? I mean, but this hard cider adds a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of tartness, and you're going to scrape off all those delicious brown bits, and we're going to reduce that liquid down to about half. We are going to create tons of flavor. We're going to reduce bone broth now, and then check this out. We are going to pin a sage leaf to an onion with cloves. Amazing. We're going to pop that roast back in there, cover it with some dried thyme, and then we're going to put that onion right on the side, cover it up with parchment paper real close to the meat, and then a lid. Then it goes in the oven, and your hard work is done. It's going to sit in the oven for about a total of 3 hours. Halfway through, you're going to add some veggies. I've got some parsnips, some carrots, and some potatoes here. We're going to put them in there, cover it with the jus. You can mix this up. The vegetables are actually my favorite part since I don't eat too much meat, but I'm probably alone there. Everybody else loves this tender meat once it's finished cooking. Look at this. It shrinks down to this gorgeous dinner.
Okay, here you have it. The Cooking Doc makes a pot roast. I'd much rather cook it than eat it. I'll probably have a tiny sliver of this and let my family eat the whole thing, but it's delicious. That recipe is unbelievable. I've got some vegetables back there, cooking in the gravy. And we'll have a couple nights of dinner with this. So thank you so much for watching. I'm Dr. Blake Schusterman, board-certified kidney doctor in the Cooking Doc. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. We talked about 3 things I learned this week. Make sure you check out my website, cookingdoc.com. Check out my book, The Cooking Doc's Kidney Healthy Cooking, not this pot roast, a modern 10-step guide to preventing and managing kidney disease. And I'll see you next time.